Welcome everybody to season 1 of Break Up the Daily Grind. In case you are just joining us for the first time, I would like to introduce us. My name is Ben, and my co-host across the table is Corey. Corey, how you doing?
Yo. I'm exhausted. I know we were talking actually literally just a minute ago about the new level of studying that I've been doing, so that's why I'm exhausted.
Right,
Lots
yeah.
of hitting the books.
Hitting the books. Man, alive.
So this is like my free time right now, my hour before I go back to purgatory. And
It's not purgatory, it's called bookatory.
yeah, bookatory.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to coin that one too.
So other than that, I'm doing pretty good.
Right,
Just
well, good.
A little tired.
Yeah. It's a Monday, and I'm groggy as all get out anyway.
Don't remind me.
So, before we get started with today's topic, I would like everyone to know this episode's been brought to you by
J-Man's live DJ service. J-Man's passion is to make your event unforgettable. Check him out at djmanlive.com. That's DJMANLIVE.com. Tell him Ben and Corey sent you.
Yeah. That man can DJ a party like you would not believe.
That man can scratch.
I don't know if he can. Well, I don't know if you remember, but he's the one that did our wedding reception.
Yeah, no, I do remember. I got down.
You got down.
Busted a move.
Yeah. I think I still have the video and the pictures to prove it.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't think the videos got lost, but there's a picture here and there. So
I got pictures. Pictures.
That's
of
all
it
right.
Still. Yeah.
So I would like to take a small little moment to dedicate a friend. You might have remembered me talking about Turbo in previous episodes. Him and I go back quite a ways, but we had lost contact there for a while, and I just happened to be scrolling through Facebook, and I come across something that reminded me of him. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to check in and see how he's doing. So I started digging around, and unfortunately, I found out that he had passed about a year and a half ago. So I knew he was not doing so well, but I guess it was expected. So I do know that he had a lot of love for his family and friends, especially his daughter and his grandbaby. Of course, I can't really remember what their names are, but I wouldn't say it anyway. So I thought that it'd be kind of cool for me to dedicate the portion of the dad jokes to him, because I know he had a sense of humor, and being a dad and a grandpa, I thought that was something that I could do just because I thought it was the right thing to do. So so I hope your laughter is heard all the way from where you're at. May you rest with peace in your soul and laughter in your heart. Now, we can get on with today's dedicated dad jokes. Are you ready?
Commence the sighing and
the hashtag grin. Okay. So what's the best way to communicate with a fish? You're taking too long.
Shut up. I don't know.
How about you just drop it a line? Bloop.
All right, that's dumb.
That's dumb. Yeah.
I love it though. I love it.
Oh, this is one right up. This is one for your generation.
Oh, great.
Why did the electric car feel discriminated against?
I don't know why. Why did the electric?
Because the rules weren't current.
Oh my. Like electric current?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, they get dumber. Wait, this is
Do
good
they
too.
get dumber?
Yeah. Why do melons have weddings?
I don't know. Why do they have?
They cantaloupe. Yeah, I saw the whole cantaloupe.
Wait,
the fruit cantaloupe.
Oh, cantaloupe. I thought you were saying cantaloupe.
Well,
because I'm like,
it's a play on.
I know, but I'm like, if you can't
boy.
elope, then what's the point of having a wedding? You're not getting married.
Cantaloupe. If you can't elope,
yeah, then you can't get married, right?
Yeah, no, it's still a wedding. It's just nobody there.
Oh, okay.
Right. So, last one here. This one here you should get a kick out of.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I tried to save the best for last.
Okay.
Corey asks for it every time. I like the last one. So here's the last one.
I'm putting a lot of pressure on you right now.
What's the best way to save your dad jokes?
Oh, this is a meta dad joke. All right. I don't know. What is it?
In a database.
Okay. All right. You saved those other three with that last one. That was good. Oh, my. A database. Oh, my gosh. That was really good.
Okay.
That was really good.
I also would like to remind the listeners that we're asking all of you to send us your favorite dad joke, either the ones that you hear on here or the ones that you have that you'd like to share. We would like you to do the same with the thoughts of the day. Maybe we can have a special episode with just those. If you would, please email those at us at mo9studios@gmail.com. That's the letter M, the letter O, the number 9, studios@gmail.com. So hopefully those put a smile on your face. And now with that, we can get on with our topic for today, which is
paranormal stuff, supernatural stuff, and
so and that's
all
what
sorts of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna. I didn't realize when we chose this topic, I didn't realize how much paranormal actually covered.
Yes.
When I hear the word paranormal, I think of like ghosts and hauntings and weird stuff like that. That's
the most broad. I feel like that's the most popular when you think about paranormal.
So when I started digging into this, I found it also covers stuff like clairvoyance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, UFOs.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And even urban legends.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah. So we've kind of dipped our toes a little bit.
Yeah, so let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, he's rubbing the hands.
Yep.
You can't. I don't know if you can hear it, but
let me get my list up. I was too busy being unconscious from how bad your jokes were.
That's all right. I keep them in the database.
Stop talking. All right. So there's a lot of there's all sorts of different urban legends. You know, obviously when it comes to urban legends and stuff like that, I feel like the first thing that comes to mind, or like creatures, paranormal, because paranormal is like this umbrella term of like ghosts, hauntings, creatures like monsters almost, essentially. Urban legends, I feel like cryptids also fall into like the monster category, but they're more so like it's almost like a special like variant. It's like a more specific creature. Whereas like monster, you think of something paranormal like that, like vampires and werewolves. That's technically paranormal,
It is, but I never really made that connection until I started dipping into this stuff. And I'm like, well, man, that's a huge umbrella,
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And so I think it's interesting because a lot of those terms come from historical historical accounts,
right,
and stuff, like over like vampires,
right,
for example. You think of like Count Dracula,
right,
and stuff, and like Transylvania and everything, and so that was actually based on a historical figure. So like Bram Stoker is he drew most of his inspiration for Count Dracula from the real historical figure Vlad Dracula.
Okay.
And so I don't know if you're familiar with
I never really got, I like the movies, but I never really dipped into the actual lore of how it all came about.
Yeah, so Vlad Dracula's father, like he was the ruler of Wallachia, which was this small country that shared a border with two major powers at the time. One of those powers being Hungary, and then another being the Ottoman Empire, which is at the time was at their peak.
I was like one of your favorites, wasn't it?
I hate the Ottomans. No, they're interesting. They're interesting. I play a lot of. I play
a history. Standpoint,
history. Yeah, they're so fascinating. But from off topic, playing against them in games and stuff, because I play a lot of historical games, and so because they were so vast throughout the years, they show up in a lot of historical games, and they're always a nuisance to me. So I hate them in that context. But essentially, Vlad and his brother were taken from their father as prisoners of the Ottomans to kind of make Wallachia submit to the Ottomans as a vassal to make them loyal, because essentially it was like, we'll kill your sons if you're not loyal to us.
Right.
So fast forward, their father breaks that pact, and so they're planned on being put to death. Something happened. They didn't end up getting put to death. But they made it seem like they were, so that their father would obey and stuff. Eventually he died, and the two boys came of age, Vlad being the older of the two brothers, and he was like, Wallachia is my birthright. And so, but I think Suleiman, who was the ruler at the time of the Ottomans, he was essentially, he was like, nah, dude, I'm putting your brother on the throne because he's more loyal. And so Vlad didn't like that. And so he went back to Wallachia. He escaped. He went back to Wallachia. He killed all the boyars because they always conspire. They're the reason that his father died. They killed his father and stuff because Wallachia was an extremely corrupt country at the time.
It fit right in today's society.
Fast forward, he was known as Vlad the Impaler because he loved impaling those who defied him and then stringing them up. There was one instance where he killed so many people and strung up so many dead bodies that when the Ottoman army got to the borders of Wallachia, it was like walking through a forest of impaled bodies and stuff. And where the connotation that he's like a vampire comes from is like one of the stories, one of the legends.
Drain all the body, because impaling him would drain all the blood.
Yeah, and so one of the legends was these Ottoman soldiers were walking through the forest of these impaled bodies and stuff, and at the center of it was Vlad sitting at like a really nicely set table and stuff, eating the flesh of babies and dining on their flesh and blood.
Okay.
And so. And it goes that they were so terrified that they ran, and they were scared, or they were impaled. Different accounts and different, but that's where the inspiration for the Bram Stoker's Vlad Dracula came from, or Count Dracula was from that guy.
Nice
and stuff. So a lot of these urban legends and stuff are based off of that. So I thought that would be a cool way to start, is taking some real life perspective and
right.
I think that's interesting.
Yeah, that's
at
cool.
least how you that's not how I would have guessed vampires were would have been.
Yeah, because a lot of the stuff you see is based on curses. A lot of them had started from witches.
Yep.
Right, which would curse. I think there was a couple of shows that dipped into that a little bit. I don't know if there was any actual historical factors to it, but some of the stories that I'd seen on movies and stuff is that it usually starts with a witch that has cast a curse on either somebody. One I remember that the curse was cast on two brothers and a sister.
Mm-hmm.
They were called the Originals, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure by saying that, I'm sure there's some people out there probably caught up on the show that I'm talking about, which I believe was called The Originals, which spawned many shows after that. But that was how they spun that to start their that urban legend, that part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was never really a big fan of vampires personally. No? Yeah, they were just not my cup of tea. So I always thought there was
not your a glass of wine.
Yeah. Crimson glass of wine. Yeah. No, I always more so liked the more unproven ones like Bigfoot or like Loch Ness Monster or one like the Mothman.
Right.
I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I've heard them all, but I never really dug. Like I said, I never dug into them. But
but
mine were more, movie style.
Yeah.
Well,
because I remember that one movie that you showed us, Monster Squad. You remember that?
Oh God, yeah, that was way back in. Shoot, that was way back in the 80s.
Yeah, that was a good movie though.
It was funny.
It was funny.
It was funny. It was based on. It was a comedy type.
Yeah.
But yeah, that movie was funny. That was some funny stuff. So cool. All right. Well, I wanted to start with maybe an urban legend or two that is kind of like right in our backyard.
Really?
So, yep. These here are right from our home state of Michigan, and this first place that I'm going to talk about, I know you've actually been to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people that have heard of this place, right? And not just been there, but heard of it. So, Torch Lake is a lake northwestern part of the Lower Peninsula. And this lake is 19 miles long, which I didn't remember it being that long when we were up there, but 19 miles, right?
Yeah.
From tip to tail. That makes it Michigan's longest. And it is Michigan's second largest lake by volume.
Mm-hmm.
So Houghton Lake having the most water, Torch Lake follows close second.
Yeah.
It's mostly known for its Caribbean clear water.
Yeah.
You remember being up there, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Clear just as could be. And for me now it's going to be known for the Torch Lake Monster. Yep. So Michigan has its own Nessie.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So the tale of the Torch Lake Monster dates all the way back into the 60s and 70s and is credited to a man named Dave Foley, which is not to be confused with a certain motivational speaker. Dave was a fisherman, a teacher, a coach, and a former counselor at Lake Hayawentwa. And I totally slaughtered the name of that, so we're not even going to worry about it. But it's up there on the northern edge. The campers of that camp, which was owned and operated by the YMCA, they actually started sharing the stories of the lake's monster for generations. As legend has it, the giant creature lives beneath the waters of Torch Lake with one brown eye and one blue eye, and a body covered with icky green goo. At night, the mysterious monster is said to rise from the depths of the lake and terrorize boaters, swimmers, and unwary campers.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, who venture where they're not supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
Right?
All right.
Stay in your tent, fool. Other than that, couldn't find a whole lot on it. There was very few like eyewitness accounts to actually prove that somebody had seen it. You know, like you, Nessie, you've got photos and stuff like that, but there's not a lot about it. Just the monster did get credited for a few missing swimmers here and there throughout the years, but other than that, there was no real evidence to say what it is. So, does the Torch Lake Monster actually exist? Or was Dave just trying to tell a scary story? There are some rather large fish that are in that lake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
those muskies get huge, dude. They can.
These are even, the ones that they've caught up there were even bigger.
Really?
In 2009, Rapid City fishermen caught one of those monsters that weighed in to be 50 pounds.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, how'd you like to put that on your pole?
I don't want to put that on my pole.
Right? But, hey, he dropped it a line. He was trying to communicate with it.
Oh, that's bad.
That's bad. So, I guess in one aspect, you could say there are monsters that roam in that water. But I don't think they have supernatural origins. Given that Dave has taken credit for starting the legend, I think that we have to put this one in the category of just fun and spooky stories in the dark.
Yeah, I'd agree so too. Because, it's not super unnatural for, something like a regular animal to become like a super version
Right.
You know,
all it has to do is feed.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. There's a lot of stuff in there.
You know the saying, like, big fish in a small pond.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
you get to a certain size and you just munch up all the competition.
It's got 18,473 acres of surface area, 41 miles of shoreline, and a maximum depth of 302 feet.
To put that into perspective, think about the Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point.
Right.
It's like 3/4 of that height.
That's
much.
420.
420. So a little under 3/4.
Yeah, 3/4.
Yeah.
You know, now you put that, that's tall, but
Yeah, that's still scary. You know, I think it's just the idea of that, like, you could be like just swimming and that's right under you. You know, this bottomless pit. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's what
for
scares
sure.
me. You know, because I don't know. Imagine that water just like disappeared, and
if I'm not mistaken, that water connects to Lake Michigan.
Does it really?
Yep. You can go in and out of Lake Michigan from that lake.
I did not know that.
Right. So, and I think that it ends up turning into one of the rivers up there too.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have to do some more digging, but so that those monsters could, in theory, go out into Lake Michigan and have all that water to hunt from.
True.
Right.
That's true.
And then come back in. Chances are, probably a lot of the little fish come into that lake, and it probably just stays in there and hunts inside the lake. But yeah. Whew. It wouldn't be that hard at all. Once you're a certain size, ain't nothing else gonna get you, except for a fisherman.
Yep. Someday, some lucky fisherman.
Can you imagine? Oh man!
Could you imagine catching a monster that big, and then you bring it on your boat, and it sinks your boat, and then you get eaten
by all of its family members?
Yeah.
50 pounds, and we'd have to take the cooler out so the boat didn't sink.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
So, Mothman.
Yeah.
So, this was one of my personal favorites.
Okay.
I always thought, because people have drawn like artistic like interpretations of what he looks like based off like people who've like seen him and everything.
Right.
He looks cool. He looks creepy. He looks creepy.
Oh yeah.
For sure. But he looks cool. So essentially the history of it is on November 15th, 1966, two young couples from Point Pleasant, West Virginia, Roger and Linda Scarberry, and Steve and Mary Melletti, told police that they had seen a large black creature whose eyes glowed red standing at the side of the road near the TNT area, which is the site of a former World War II munitions plant. Linda described it as a slender, muscular man about 7 feet tall with white wings. However, she was unable to discern its face due to its hypnotic effect of its eyes. Distressed, the witnesses sped away, reporting that the creature flew after the car, making a screeching sound, and it pursued them as far as the Point Pleasant city limits. Over the next few days, more people reported what?
It was mad because you ran into his sister and splattered on the windshield.
Yeah, or his date. You know,
that's a day that come to a sudden stop.
You know how many moth women there are in the world? There was one, and you killed her.
Splat. Hey, sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're the bug.
Hey, man. We didn't expect cars to be such killing machines.
I know, right?
Over the next few days, more people reported similar sightings after local newspapers covered it. Two volunteer firemen who saw it said it was a large bird with red eyes. Mason County Sheriff George Johnson believed the sightings were due to an unusually large heron he termed a shite poke. Contractor Noel Partridge told Johnson that when he aimed a flashlight at the creature in a nearby field, its eyes glowed like bicycle reflectors. Additionally, he blamed buzzing noises from his television set and the disappearance of his German Shepherd dog on the creature. wildlife biologist Robert L. Smith at West Virginia University told reporters that descriptions and sightings fit the sandhill crane, a large American crane almost as tall as a man with a 7-foot wingspan and reddish coloring around its eyes. The bird may have wandered out of its migration route and therefore was unrecognized at first because it was not native to this region.
Yeah, that crane is 7 feet tall.
Yeah. Or no, 7 feet wingspan. Yeah. But it can be as tall, like almost as tall as like, average height people. So like 5 foot.
5.5, 6 foot.
5.5.
That's a big bird.
So due to the popularity of the creature, there is actually a Batman villain that was created based off of it called Killer Moth.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, so apparently it was only in the comic books.
Oh, okay.
So following this, December 15th, 1967, so almost a year after the original sighting, the collapse of the Silver Bridge happened, and it led to 46 people dying. The incident gave rise to the legend and connected the Mothman sighting to the bridge collapse. According to a Georgian newspaper, a Russian ufologist claimed the Mothman sightings in Moscow foreshadowing the 1990 Russian apartment bombing. And the Mothman Prophecies, which was a motion picture loosely based on the events. And so essentially the what they don't cover is the bridge collapse and stuff. What happened was apparently there were multiple sightings of the Mothman sitting on top of the bridge. The same exact description that was given about him a year ago.
Right.
Was the same, was given by multiple different people.
Right.
The same exact description. This giant 7-foot tall man with like these massive wings and these glowing red eyes that were almost hypnotic if you like gazed into them for too long. Apparently, shortly after that, an hour after that, the bridge collapsed, killing 46 people. And then the same thing with this Russian apartment bombing in Moscow. So he's got frequent flyer miles. He does apparently. This led to people considering him like sightings of him being a bad omen or foreshadowing like tragic events were about to unfold. If you've seen him, then like get out of that area. Do not stay where you're at. Go. Yeah, you need to leave. Right. So they pretty much said he is like a bad omen. He's like a bearer of bad omens. So if you see like, because the Russian one, they gave the exact same description there too. 7-foot man with like this huge wingspan and these red hypnotic eyes and stuff too, which is crazy. So obviously it could be just like a coincidence and stuff, but it's crazy that so many people had like the same sightings, right? And like had the same idea. Now, there's actually a Mothman statue in Point Pleasant, dedicated to the Mothman, and there's like a Mothman museum that you can like check out and stuff too, which is really cool. I'd love to check that out. Yeah. Jess went. Oh, and saw it. Yeah, she got a shirt from there, and she said it was really cool. Yeah. So I definitely want to go there at some point and check it out.
Now, what state's that in?
West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, not too far off stuff.
It's 8.5 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is a shame because we've been to West Virginia multiple times.
Right.
So,
but it depends on. We were just inside the state line.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, not just inside. We were. An hour or so in there.
Yeah. I'm not sure where Point Pleasant is.
No, it could have been on the other end, though.
It's so... Oh, okay. So it's like... Yeah, it's sort of southwest-ish.
Southwest-ish.
Yeah.
Well, it's still on this side of the state, so... Wouldn't be too far off.
No. But, yeah, I definitely...
You got a friend out that way, too. If you go out and visit next time, you make a day of it and go.
Go up to the...
Mothman Museum?
Yeah, Logan lives in Virginia.
Oh, Virginia.
Yeah,
Virginia.
so well, he's probably still a ways away. Then still, I'd drive a few hours to check it out if I was already out that way.
Oh, well, yeah, you'd have to make a day of it, but
yeah,
I'm sure there's more out there than just that. Though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you could make a day of it for sure.
Yep. So that's the Mothman.
Nice.
The Mothman.
The Mothman.
The Mothman. So this is like the concept that people have drawn up for him.
Oh yeah.
He's creepy looking.
Yeah, he's creepy. Well, you know what? With that kind of photo,
yeah,
it would not be difficult for a large bird to take that effect, because I'm thinking, if you're seeing some sort of face, you're going to see a long bill. If it's a stork,
yeah,
you're going to see the bill and you're going to recognize that it's a bird.
The thing too is if it was at nighttime, it's obviously going to be much harder to see.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
yeah,
too, so you're gonna see
you're
gonna see your mind's gonna play tricks on you and stuff too. And if you ever seen you ever shined like your flashlight or taken a flash photo of an animal like a cat or a dog, and you see the eye
I see them all the time. I'm looking through my 22 at night.
Yeah, so you get it's really easy to catch that glow effect off of.
Yep. And this one here is also another one that we've been to that we didn't know the history of this one.
Really?
Either. Yeah. Mackinac Island's drowning pool.
What the heck?
Yeah, you didn't know that was one of those, did you?
Not. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the biggest hot spot for ghost activity on the island.
Really?
Yeah. This pool is actually a lagoon that is on the island between Mission Point and downtown Mackinac. Now, or Mackinac, how some people pronounce it. I've actually looked on the map, and it was hard to decipher, but I think I found it's kind of off to the side of that a little bit. But this one goes all the way back to the 1700s, right?
Oh wow!
Yeah, so in the 1700s, early 1800s, there were a lot of brothels that opened up on the island, which I didn't know that. Out of those brothels, 7 women were accused of being witches. So you know where this is going, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Luring soldiers, other women's husbands, to them. Back in those days, the one method that was used for determining whether a woman was a witch or not was to tie rocks to their feet and throw them into the water. If they floated, they were witches.
Mm-hmm.
If they sunk, they were innocent, but they were also dead.
Yeah.
So that was just a one-way trip. And,
that was a lose-lose situation.
That was a lose-lose situation for sure. Now, the way I understand it is that they brought these women out to a spot, right? There's a small pool right along the edge of the lake. Right there, there's a little shore, and there's a little pool just inside the island. And it's crazy because this pool has a 20-foot drop, right? It's probably... I don't know, it's probably about half the size of my driveway.
Yeah.
Right? It's not very big. But she's got a 20-foot drop there, which would have been perfect for that kind of testing, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Right? So in this particular place, they actually put them on a chair, and they tied rocks to their feet, and then they dunked them right in there to see if they were actually witches or not. Legend says that they did not float, so they were innocent. The legend goes on to say that the 7 women that were actually innocent of being witches actually haunt the waters to this day. Visitors report seeing mysterious splashing, shadows, and dark figures floating above the water in that area. Yeah, didn't know that.
Creep me out, man.
Didn't know that, did you?
Yeah, no, I did not know that.
And Mackinac Island is, from what I can gather, it's a hot spot of that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
There was a famous group that, their name is going to escape me. We used to watch them on TV.
Are you talking about Ghost Hunters?
Ghost Hunters.
Yeah.
They actually did a session in the Grand Hotel up there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So there's supposed to be, matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think in that episode, I think they were out by that pond.
Oh, really?
I think they did a spot outside. They did all over the island, if I'm not mistaken.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I would like to watch that episode again. Maybe I have to see if I can't find it.
It's probably on Hulu or whatever.
Right.
One of those.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. Creepy.
You believe in ghosts?
Yes and no. I don't really know what the definition of a ghost is.
Yeah.
Right? Most stuff that happens is misidentified.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's, from the dead. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't have any idea of putting rules or definition on it. There is stuff there that I cannot explain. Like, for example, your uncle's old apartment.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
I do.
Oh.
The recording?
The recording just made the hair stand up back of my neck. And for those that obviously nobody else would know except for Corey and I, his uncle was renting half a duplex. And they had a dog. They didn't have any kids, but they had a dog. And the dog, when they went to bed, the dog would always run up and down the hallway playing with toys and stuff. And they couldn't figure it out, right? They just figured the dog's being hyper at night. But the one weird thing that they kept finding was little kid handprints on their TV. They don't have kids, and the dog wasn't doing it. But they would clean the TV off, and the next day there'd be little handprints on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
So finally he asks to borrow my recorder. He goes, I just want to throw it in there and see what happens. I was like, all right, cool. So he took it for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then he goes, you got to hear this stuff. So he played it for us. And I tell you what, the hair on the back of my neck never stood up so strong. When I heard that disembodied voice say, don't go down the hallway. Just creepy as all get out. So I don't know if, and a little side note too, they did some investigating in that duplex, and I guess years and years and years before it became a duplex, there was actually a little girl that had died in that place.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't remember the why the kid died, but it died for some reason. So your uncle believes that the little spirit that was in the house was actually playing with the dog, right?
Yeah.
And the voice that he'd caught on the recording was the spirit talking to the dog because the dog kept trying to go back to bed or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So creepy.
Yeah. It's things like that where it's like,
Yep.
how do you know?
Well, you don't. And and to throw another one really close to home, I was talking to your sister the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I called her and see how she was doing. And she had actually told me that she had seen what she believes is ghosts in the old house that we used to live in.
What?
Over there in Asher.
Oh, Asher?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
She said she'd seen ghosts and entities and black figures in that house. I'm like, I never saw those. But
no, I never seen those either.
no, she said she saw them. She said she heard them talk to her too. So
I don't want to. I think that stuff's real, to be honest. I don't want to experience it.
Yeah, I believe it's real. I think it's mostly misidentified. It's something that we don't understand. That's why it's called paranormal.
Yeah.
Dude, there's could be so many explanations for it, and it just.
I'm on the fence. I think I'm open to it. I'm not gonna say it doesn't, it doesn't exist or it's not something that can happen. But I need to experience it myself first.
I wouldn't mind experiencing, like we used to watch Ghost Hunters and stuff like that. I thought, man, that would be cool.
The thing that sucks is with TV programs, you never know how
right,
legit it can be, because obviously they have to get views to keep the show on, and so it's totally possible some things could be fabricated for dramatic effect and whatnot.
That show never really did have a lot of. I mean, it had a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, like the usual stuff.
Right, but it never really had any definite proof.
Yeah, yeah.
Or even
it was always left up to interpretation, where you could easily be like, "Oh, well that's not real." Or
I mean they would play you audio clips of it sounded like a voice, but you don't honestly know who was even in that room when they were recording.
I would love to go to a haunted place.
a legit
like a legit
yeah.
haunted place that's like historically like this is like what we're known for,
right?
You know, or like any of the locations that they've gone to,
right?
To experience it myself, you know, to like be like stay the night or something, you know, until morning and see what happens. Not alone though. I ain't going alone.
There's a few hotels because I remember there was a few hotels on that particular show that they had that they would.
Yeah.
You know, they said that these rooms they will rent those rooms out for the night, but you have to understand this is what happens in that room, and they are not responsible.
Yep. Yeah, you had to like pay extra or something,
something
to like stay in those rooms, and like you had to sign a waiver or a disclaimer because
there was a lot of those places. There was reports of people getting grabbed and scratched.
Yeah,
and actual, I don't want to say physical harm, but stuff that could be physically seen.
Yeah,
right?
No, I know what you mean.
No, I'd like to. I don't know if I would want to sleep.
Well, I wouldn't
don't
sleep,
think I could sleep.
But I'd want to like experience it to see if anything happens.
Yeah.
You know, not alone though. I'd go with like a couple friends or something.
Right.
You and me should go to a haunted place and investigate.
I'd have to take some recording.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Have to.
I think that would be cool. Just leave a recorder on for the night or something like that. And see if you catch anything or.
Yeah, you could do a recorder and just let it run all night.
Yeah,
and that way it would catch audio and video.
Yeah. I was gonna say set up like a video camera where it gets like a whole view of the room. See if anything happens. If like stuff gets thrown around or if like.
Find out exactly who's stealing the covers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah. No, not me either.
You know what a skinwalker is?
I've heard of it, but I've never. Like I said, I don't follow the urban legends too much.
No, so let me make sure. I'm gonna pull it up really.
That sounds like a Saw movie, is what that sounds like.
So, a skinwalker is a malevolent witch in Navajo folklore that can change into, possesses, or disguises themselves as an animal.
No, like a shapeshifter type thing.
Yeah, so like a shapeshifter type thing. There's like all sorts of different, the folklore for skinwalkers goes really deep. And so there is this place, I forget where it was at, but it coined the term Skinwalker Ranch because all sorts of different events would happen on it.
I've heard about that ranch, but I thought that was a UFO based type stuff.
It was a couple things.
Oh,
it was
okay.
a couple different things.
There was a TV show called Skinwalker Ranch.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Skinwalker Ranch. That's out west.
Yeah, so I think now you can actually go visit it.
Yep.
And so what a skinwalker is like I said, this like witch essentially. But it doesn't. I don't know why it says witch. It doesn't have to necessarily be a witch. It can be like someone who possesses the ability to like shapeshift into animals.
Right.
But what they can also do is mimic voices of people that you know.
That's a superpower. That'd get me in a whole lot of trouble.
It is really creepy. And so on the Skinwalker Ranch, you'll kind of get into that a bit more. There's like one of the most like well-known documented cases of like skinwalkers and stuff. But a lot of the times they'll get on these ranches with lots of animals. Like an animal will disappear, and then like days later, it'll show up. Like it'll reappear like nothing happened. But there'll be distinct features and like behaviors that are different from how the animal used to behave. And so like it'll constantly be keeping an eye on you or following you and watching your movements and stuff because it's like trying to like pick you out and stuff. But on Skinwalker Ranch, there were a bunch of strange like different like things happening, like cattle mutations. So like they'd have like holes in their eyes and stuff, and like they'd have all these like things missing, and they'd be mutilated and like ripped to shreds and stuff. And a lot of people will say that was a skinwalker's doing.
Right.
And a lot of them do that because they want to take the place of that animal. And no one, like, you don't really know the intentions. A lot of it's to cause harm, you know.
Trying to figure out what makes the animal tick.
Yep. Like you said, UFOs.
Yeah.
You know,
I never watched the show, but when I'd seen bits and pieces of it, and I just figured it was kind of like a UFO type deal.
Yeah, and so like a lot of people went with like extraterrestrial type stuff happening too, because like there would be UFOs or like orbs of light, other like mysterious like just random unexplainable lights, because there are this giant ranch out in the middle of nowhere. There shouldn't be no lights. You know, going around off in the distance. And it's like they'd go out to investigate and then it'd just disappear, or you'd never find it, or you'd walk towards it and it'd just be getting further away.
Right.
You'd never be able to get close to it, which was crazy. They'd also see really large animals too. They're like large wolf-like creatures with red eyes, like lurking on the outskirts and moving around. They claim that to be skinwalkers and stuff too, because that's another thing. Like they can't just turn into regular animals. They can, but they can also turn into these like bestial forms of it, where it's like kind of similar to a werewolf and stuff.
They would kind of maintain the same size of them. They just look different.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be more like almost mutated, if that makes sense, you know. And then the regular stuff like crop circles showing up,
which
like
that would be tied to a UFO.
UFO type stuff. And so that's another place I'd like to go visit too, Skinwalker Ranch. And check that place out. But they're really creepy, and there's a lot of stories like all around the United States about it.
Crop circles and stuff are usually fairly well known.
Yeah.
I mean, throughout, not only here, but overseas as well.
Oh, yeah. Skinwalkers are more of a Native, like, American folklore type thing, so they're kind of based more in the United States, too.
I wonder if there's a creature over there. Obviously, it would be kind of the same thing, but maybe it's called something different.
Called something else. I wonder that, too, if there's, like a shape-shifting creature over there that can take different forms of animals. Another thing that kind of gets kind of put in with skinwalkers in the same category is wendigos.
Wendigos?
Yeah. So I don't know if you're familiar with those.
No, I've heard those. Of course, you know, you and I both watched Supernatural.
Yeah.
All the way through it, and those are all creatures that are described on that show.
Yeah, so essentially a wendigo, and that's kind of the same goal that a skinwalker has, is it likes eating human flesh, and whatnot. It can't get enough of it. Wendigo's the same thing, where it's like this curse that befalls you. If you eat human flesh, you'll become a wendigo. Okay. And you'll pretty much lose your mind and have these unnatural, like insatiable cravings to eat human flesh. And the more you eat, the more like unrecognizable you become as like a human, and stuff. And the more you kind of transform into this monster,
I heard that. I think it was actually your sister said that was one of those ones you're not ever supposed to say out loud.
Oh, Wendigo?
Yeah, it's something about Wendigo. I think it was Wendigo you weren't ever supposed to say. It was supposed to be like a bad omen or something.
Really? Yeah. Oh, that's. I guess I'm done for.
Yeah, we're both screwed.
Oh, yeah. So that's what those are. They're really creepy, just because that's like, it's one of those things, you know. Another one, just to add to the millions of things that are lurking out in the woods that like don't go out into the woods alone. You know.
Yep. I always tell the kids, they're like, "We're afraid of the dark." I'm like, you don't need to be afraid of the dark. The dark is not what you should be afraid of. Yeah. Then quietly to myself, I say, what's in the dark is what you should be afraid of.
What lurks in the dark.
No, I try not to. I try to leave that part out because, you know, I don't want them to be terrified of the dark. But, that's the way the phrase rolls anyway.
So that's something I'd like to do is, I was talking about it with Logan and a couple others, going up to and hiking the Appalachian Trail for a bit, just a little section.
Trying to get Bigfoot to catch you.
I would love to like experience that, because there's a lot of sightings of like skinwalkers and all those cryptid type stuff. I think it'd be cool to not only just experience walking the Appalachian Trail for a bit, because I'd like to like park a car and then drive like 30 or 40 miles down and then walk for like a week and like camp in between.
Oh, okay.
You know, I think
yeah.
that would be really cool to do. And then
That'd be cool.
And then with a group of friends, I'm not doing that alone. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, make sure you take somebody who has survival techniques.
Yep, exactly. But it'd be cool to experience that and maybe even like see some weird stuff like skinwalkers or like let your mind just go crazy with fear and adrenaline.
Most people say you could stay home and get some really good drugs and have that same effect.
Oh, but this is much healthier.
As you trip, fall off a cliff and die,
or get consumed by some like unrecognizable beast.
Right.
Yeah, much safer.
We was doing some research on the stuff that I pulled up, and I'd come across one that Matt had talked about underneath our conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
One of the episodes we had that, and that was the Bermuda Triangle of Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was an urban legend too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. And if anyone would like to hear that one, you can go back, and I believe that was episodes.
That was the
conspiracy theory number 1.
Yeah,
right?
The first one.
Yep, I believe that was in there, and I believe that the other ones, like the ones that you talked about, not necessarily the one about Timor, but the one about Portlock,
Portlock, Alaska,
and Roanoke, Virginia.
Yeah,
I'm sure those both fall underneath that same.
Oh, definitely.
That urban legend one, yeah,
absolutely.
So those were also part of the conspiracy theories too, but they also have an urban legends tied to them as well. Yeah, so that's kind of cool too.
Yeah, which is really neat. They kind of like cross over a bit.
Right, they kind of have both.
Yeah,
both in them.
Mm-hmm.
And now the Portlock and the Roanoke, the Roanoke might be a little bit, but the Bermuda Triangle of Lake Michigan, they have a name for it too. I can't remember it offhand, but that would have a little bit of conspiracy behind it because if I read it correctly, there was some involvement, like the FAA and stuff that was tied with aircraft and the Coast Guard. Some of that stuff was kind of, I don't want to say covered up, but kind of given just a lame kind of explanation of what happened to it. Yeah. So that was part of the conspiracy part on those. So, but yeah, they still fall underneath this one too.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Sure is. And with that, Corey and I would like to thank you to all that have stayed to the end of our discussion, and we hope that you enjoyed our topic of chat, and hope that you will join us next week for more conversation. And if I'd like to put a quarter on it, I bet you we're going to pick up right where we left off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
I had a few left on my list. I'm sure you've got a few on yours.
I got so many.
Yep. So, remember to like and follow us at Break Up the Daily Grind on Facebook and YouTube. And we are on Spotify. And you can leave us comments and give us new topic ideas. We would love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
And don't forget, please email us your jokes and your favorite thought of the weeks so we can work on having a special episode with just nothing but dad jokes.
Oh, fun.
Boy. Yeah.
1 hour of suffering.
Yeah. Yep. Because that there's some, because I got some that are so dumb I won't even put on there.
I know.
I'd stick them in that one just to make you go, oh boy, I quit. Hit the pause button. And don't forget, if you're listening to us on Spotify, please throw us some stars. And if you think we're worth 5, we'll take it. If you're not, if not,
we'll take it.
You let us know what you think. That's what it's there for. And now with that, we would like to leave you with the thought of the week.
Do not worry of the day being your last. Be thankful that you have been given another day to try again. Pastor Bradshaw.
And with that, we will see you next time.
Later, skaters.